Let's speak to Sultan Barakat, who's a professor of public policy at Hamad bin Khalifa University, joining us from York in the UK. Welcome to Al Jazeera. So what we saw overnight was the French president announcing France would officially recognize a Palestinian state in September, making it the first G7 nation to do so. Does that pressure other G7 nations at all to follow France's lead?
I think so. This is a very significant move forward. And I know, given what's going on in Gaza, I was just listening to the report by Noor from Gaza. It's very difficult to think optimistic at the moment and to see anything as coming as positive. But I genuinely believe this move by France is important. France, aside from it being on the G7, and others will probably follow, like Japan and Canada, who enjoy good relationship with France and will be under the same pressure to recognize Palestine. France, of course, is on the Security Council, and now it's a minority of the Security Council who do not recognize Palestine. That will include only the United Kingdom and the US. But very importantly also, France is historically responsible for the creation of Israel. I mean, the whole Sykes-Picot, it's co-partnered with the United Kingdom to create that history. And I think it's living up to its responsibility now to try and move the discourse in a direction where a resolution is possible. And of course, it will place the United Kingdom under pressure to act now, particularly with the report that came yesterday from the House of Commons.
Right.
But and it will. Sorry.
Yeah, go on. I'm glad you mentioned the report actually in the UK. Sultan Barakat, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so on the note of that report that you mentioned, so that was a report that was put out by the British Foreign Affairs Committee recommending that the government exert pressure on Israel to end the war in Gaza and secure a lasting peace. Now, I mean, is this significant at all, this report, or is it just yet another report with empty words and no action will be taken?
Well, it shows the level of dissent within the British Parliament against the position taken by the government. And it's also a cross-party, which is important. Where it fell short is in terms of making concrete recommendations for actions to be taken. And everyone knows what needs to be done. They need to boycott Israel in a number of areas, economically, so culturally, and so on. They need to support the recognition of the state of Palestine, and they need to take action on the ground in terms of provision of aid. And unfortunately, I mean, the current situation is that they have acknowledged the situation as it is, but they haven't really made specific recommendations. And the Prime Minister in the United Kingdom continues to move very, very slowly on this issue. The Foreign Minister is allowed to say all sorts of things, and he's been taking really harsh positions, at least in terms of rhetoric, against the atrocities committed by Israel. But until now, they haven't agreed to take concrete steps. The very small steps they've taken against some violent settlers in the West Bank, and or maybe stopping the export of some parts or weapons to Israel that is used in Gaza, is not enough. And the United Kingdom can do much more. And they can, of course, also use their leverage with the United States to try and change the position so that a more just situation can emerge.
Yeah, and with Gaza now pretty much starving, as we hear from people on the ground, as we just heard from Noor, who was speaking to us a few moments ago, and this global condemnation really growing. Is there any sign that the condemnation is pressuring not only Israel, but the United States as well?
It's pressuring, but the Israelis and alongside them, the Americans are very smart in trying to avoid that pressure. Now Israel is talking about allowing airdrops again into Gaza. So instead of doing the obvious, and that is to let the UN reutilize its distribution points, more than 400 across the Gaza Strip, to redistribute aid and food and so on, they're now working around this and pretending that they have nothing to stop. They're not going to stop other countries from doing airdrops. And we all saw what airdrops have done in the past. They're not efficient. It's too expensive, and it's going to make the situation worse. What it looks like is happening on the ground is that Netanyahu is still pursuing his idea to create a transitional concentration camp, where he wants to put all the Palestinians in one corner of Gaza, in an area that he called a secure area. It's an area that he's going to lay the infrastructure for, away from Hamas, and make it really impossible for people to live in that part of the world, and at the same time try to pretend to give them the choice of leaving Gaza. So if no action taken, particularly by the United Kingdom, United States, and France, in pushing for international assistance to go into Gaza, no airdrops will really do, and the situation will continue to be as bad as it is, if not worse.
Sultan Barakat, you're joining us from York in the UK. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.